A 6.4-magnitude earthquake rocked parts of Northern California early Tuesday, knocking out power for thousands and causing widespread damages, officials said. The quake hit at a depth of 10 miles just after 5:30 a.m. ET near Eureka in Humboldt County, the U.S. Geological Survey said. It struck around 7.4 miles west-southwest of Ferndale, the agency said. More than a dozen smaller earthquakes appeared to hit parts of the region afterward, it said. It was not immediately clear whether anyone was injured in the earthquake. More than 70,000 utility customers were without power in Humboldt County as of 9 a.m. ET Tuesday, according to the online outage tracker poweroutage.us. Power is out across the county, Humboldt County's Office of Emergency Services said in a tweet, adding, "Do not call 911 unless you are experiencing an immediate emergency." Officials said widespread damages to roads and homes had been reported across the county as it warned residents to be prepared for aftershocks and to check gas and water lines for damages or leaks. Exercise caution if traveling, it added. A section of the historic Fern Bridge in Ferndale was closed due to possible seismic damage, the California Department of Transportation said. In a photo it shared online, cracks could be seen on the bridge. There was no threat of a tsunami in connection with the earthquake as of early Tuesday, the National Weather Service's tsunami warning system said. A number of people said on social media that they were woken up by the MyShake earthquake warning app on their cell phones. A seismologist with the U.S. Geological Survey said people living near the coast reported feeling significant shaking. They said people could expect to see minor damages, including things falling off shelves, and could possibly see foundational damages. The quake comes almost exactly a year after a 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck offshore in the Cape Mendocino area of Northern California on December 21 last year. No major damage or injuries were reported in connection with that quake. This is a developing story.
Parts of U.S. face life-threatening cold as snow causes travel headaches. A bitter blast of Arctic air from Canada is expected to bring life-threatening cold to parts of the United States in the lead-up to Christmas, weather officials have warned. A strong Arctic high-pressure system extending from western Canada to the northern plains is expected to bring very cold air across the region, while extending into parts of the Pacific Northwest this week, the National Weather Service said. As of Tuesday morning, 46 million people were under winter alerts stretching from the northern plains into the Ohio Valley. Along with the bitter cold, snow is also expected to impact parts of the U.S., bringing pre-holiday travel headaches, it warned. As the cold air mass bites deeper into Washington, an approaching storm system and surge of moisture will lead to widespread snow to impact northern and western portions of the Evergreen State, the agency warned. Snow is likely to fall across the lowlands as well and could be heavy at times, leading to dangerous travel conditions, it said. The heaviest snowfall amounts are expected in the higher terrain of the Cascades and into northern Idaho, northwest Montana and western Wyoming, the Weather Service said, adding, these regions will have the best chances for over a foot of snow. The dangerous Arctic air over the northern plains and western Canada is expected to move south, following behind a system already crossing the Pacific Northwest on Tuesday, it said. Cold weather, combined with wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour, could bring life-threatening wind chill values as low as -40 degrees to parts of the central and north-central U.S., the Weather Service said. This level of cold can be life-threatening and lead to frostbite on exposed skin in as little as 10 minutes, it said. Wind chill warnings and watches have been put in place across 17 states from Washington to Texas in response to the cold weather. Snow is also expected to add to pre-holiday travel headaches, from the Central Plains to the Midwest and the Great Lakes as a major storm begins to brew, the Weather Service warned. Areas of light to moderate snow are likely along and behind the cold front as it impacts Central Plains and Upper Mississippi Valley on Wednesday and Thursday, it said. In addition to the snowfall, strong winds are also expected to hit nearly the entire eastern half of the U.S. as this large system becomes fully mature by Thursday night, it said. Heavy winds are expected to create blizzard conditions throughout the central and the northeastern plains, the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Meanwhile, low visibility is expected to further imperil travel conditions on top of snow-covered roadways. The Weather Service further warned of the possibility of power outages from the Midwest to the Northeast. With such a large and powerful storm system impacting a majority of the nation during one of the biggest travel weeks of the year, it is imperative that travelers check the latest forecast before venturing out, it warned. Major airport hubs in Chicago, Detroit, Cincinnati, Charlotte, Washington, D.C., New York and Boston are expected to be impacted by the storm with possible flight delays or cancellations. Severe turbulence could also be possible.
U.S. Congress to debate $1.66 trillion government funding bill. The total funding proposed by the sweeping bill, released early on Tuesday, is up from the approximately $1.5 trillion the previous year. It includes other measures agreed on by negotiators from both parties, including a ban on the use of TikTok on government-owned devices and clarification of Congress's role in certifying elections, an attempt to avoid a repeat of the violence of January 6, 2021. Senate and House of Representatives leaders aim to pass the 4,155-page bill and send it to Democratic President Joe Biden by the end of the week to ensure no interruptions to the government's activities. "We're going to get going on this process today," Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, referring to votes that could occur on Tuesday on procedural steps that would clear the way for passage by Friday. Failure could bring a partial government shutdown beginning Saturday, just before Christmas, and possibly lead into a months-long standoff after Republicans take control of the House on January 3, breaking the grip of Biden's Democrats on both chambers of Congress. From funding for nutrition programs and housing assistance, to home energy costs and college affordability, our bipartisan, bicameral, omnibus appropriations bill directly invests in providing relief from the burden of inflation on the American people, Democratic Senator Patrick Leahy said in a statement. Included in the bill is $44.9 billion in emergency assistance to Ukraine and NATO allies and $40.6 billion to assist communities across the United States recovering from natural disasters and other matters. The Ukraine funds would be used for military training, equipment, logistics, and intelligence support, as well as for replenishing U.S. equipment sent to Kyiv. It also includes funding to prepare for and respond to potential nuclear and radiological incidents in Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin has not ruled out the use of nuclear weapons in the conflict with Ukraine. This money would be on top of the record $858 billion in military spending for the year, which is up from last year's $740 billion and also exceeds Biden's request. On the non-defense side of the ledger, the bill's negotiators have set funding at $800 billion, a $68 billion increase over the previous year. Democrats and Republicans alike had aimed to tuck as many legislative wish list items as possible into the omnibus bill funding the government through the end of this fiscal year on September 30, 2023, without derailing the whole package. This was the second year in a row Congress included funding for hundreds of largely unrelated projects requested by individual lawmakers. Congress had abandoned such earmarks a decade ago after a series of corruption scandals. Among the most significant add-ons is the Bipartisan Electoral Count Act, which overhauls and clarifies Congress's certification process for presidential elections. Democrats and many Republicans see the measure as crucial to avoiding a repeat of the chaos that occurred almost 2 years ago when a mob of Donald Trump supporters attacked the Capitol building in an attempt to overturn Biden's victory. U.S. lawmakers also included a proposal to bar federal employees from using Chinese app TikTok on government-owned devices. And they backed a proposal to lift a looming deadline imposing a new safety standard for modern cockpit alerts for 2 new versions of Boeing Co.'s 737 MAX aircraft. Other provisions ranged from additional funding for the U.S. Capitol Police, to a measure supported by Maine's delegation that delays new regulations aimed at protecting the endangered right whale, a victory for lobstermen in the state. Measures left out include legislation that would have provided citizenship to dreamer immigrants who illegally entered the United States as children. Criminal justice reform advocates also came away largely empty-handed, after a compromise measure that would have dramatically lessened the sentencing disparity between crack cocaine and powder cocaine collapsed. The cannabis industry also suffered a defeat after a closely watched measure that would have shored up banking regulations for legal marijuana companies was excluded.